eliminated certain rights in the Java community process, including the ability to set aside a particular vote if necessary, where necessary is defined as because we feel like it. This doesn't strike me as really a democracy. This strikes me more as, well, more like a people's republic. Your votes, if we like votes, we celebrate votes. If we don't like votes, you didn't vote. Now, interesting question. Is that how you want to be governed? That is to say, the further technological advancement, the Java virtual machine, which you, not most of you, depend on for a living. Is this the way you want it to work? Is this the way it should work? Is this the way that Oracle would say, you know what, we're going to set all of this aside, and we're just going to keep going forward with Java 9, and to hell with what the folks at JBoss think, or IBM, or Red Hat, or whoever it was that argued. We don't care what they think, they're actually a competitor of ours. And so, yeah, as a matter of fact, interesting little tidbit, Plato was never a big fan of democracy. Plato, a great philosopher, believed very strongly that states should be governed by what he called the philosopher king. Somebody who was well-reasoned, somebody who was well-educated, somebody who governed by virtue of his knowledge. And we're talking about people who have the best knowledge of the platform. To a certain degree, you can argue that that's the people who are building it, that is to say, more themselves. This is arguing in many respects for a benevolent dictator. Are we up to that? Is that the way we want to see this happen? Yeah. I don't have answers. I'm not going to pretend to have answers. Because in some cases, even if I did have the answers, it wouldn't matter unless all of you agreed with me and we staged some kind of protest outside Oracle headquarters. Free the JCP now. But the fact that we as a community don't really spend much time thinking about some of these things. In many cases, it just happens over there in the corner. And occasionally it makes news on, Hacker News, or it'll show up on DZone or InfoQ, and we go, oh, Java 9's not shipping for another 3 months. Whatever. Well, what do you mean it's not shipping for another 3 months? We were ready to go into production, and they're actually going to change the way modules work, and we were banking on, etc. Again, the political philosophers would say, what is the relationship between the governed and the governors at Oracle? Psychology and philosophy deal with a lot of these problems that we, as programmers, have to deal with, both in terms of the way we think and the way we reason about things, the way we view the world, the way we approach the world, the way in which we rationalize the world, etc. I'm not going to promise that if you study philosophy, you will immediately become a better programmer. What I am going to promise is that if you study philosophy, you will, in fact, never look at the world the same way. You will find yourself filled with questions, and you will ask these questions. And in many cases, you will be the most annoying person you will ever have. Believe me, my family can attest to this. But in many cases, the questions that you might ask are important questions that need to be asked. And if you don't ask them, nobody will. Because that's another psychological principle. It's really easy to just run with the herd. Everybody else must know something that I don't, otherwise why would they be asking this question? Because in many cases, they're afraid. They're afraid to be that person in the room. They're afraid to be the annoying one. They're afraid to be the one that's always asking those stupid, annoying questions. They're afraid to be the one that's challenging the status quo. Everybody knows that Agile is better. Why is it better? Asks the philosopher. And the psychologist says, let's start standing up some experiments to find out. That's all I got for you. Peace.
Thank you for riding with JR East. The next departure from track number 3 will be the 5:02 p.m. rapid train bound for Shinchiba through service to the Rinkai line. The next stop is Toda Koen. 次は戸田公園に停まります。
Over a long enough period of time, whatever choice you make is going to be wrong, and you'll have to move on to the next thing, I have to learn the next thing, evaluate the next thing. So I do realize that even as big a deal as the cloud is now, in some time period, I don't know if it's 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, we'll all be talking about some new hotness. And that's just the nature of our industry. Certainly a lot of this has already gotten to serverless. I'm sure a few of you have played around with that. I know Matt did a talk earlier today about serverless. Yeah, so there will be something that replaces this. That's natural. I'm fine with that. But regardless of how you feel about the buzzwords or not, the cloud is a focus for a lot of organizations today. And having come from a large enterprise organization recently, it was very clear to me that in a lot of these organizations, people want to own the cloud, but they don't want to actually own the cloud. And so what I've seen repeatedly in my career is there's a lot of people who want to get it on their resume, they want credit, they want to get the bonus, the promotion for being the deliverer of new technology, but they don't want to actually sit down and solve the problems that come along with it. Because I'm here to tell you, even as someone who's a big believer in the cloud, big proponent of the cloud, there are real engineering and cultural issues that you are going to have to overcome in your organization to embrace this particular development model. Now, I know a lot of folks in this world seem to think there actually are magic sparkle ponies. I have never seen one, certainly not in any development projects I've been a part of. I know a lot of organizations seem to think this is just a technology choice, that all I have to do is pick a platform and all these problems go away. It doesn't quite work that well. I wish it did. That'd be really simple. I wish it was always a technical problem. I know how to solve technical problems. My experience with technology, the harder part is the cultural stuff that goes along with it. So what I'm going to try to do here over the next several minutes is give you guys a sense of some of the pitfalls that come into going to the cloud environment, how to avoid some of them, and how to watch out for the inevitable resume-driven design that seems to crop up in shocking amount of my time just explaining to people what the cloud was. Sometimes this was technical staff, sometimes this was our non-technical business folks, but what was very clear to me after having lots and lots of these conversations is the cloud means a lot of things to a lot of people. And amazingly, a few of them are even right about what the cloud means. A lot of misconceptions, a lot of people don't really understand what's at play, what it means for the organization, what it means for their applications, and part of this, of course, is all the buzzwords that get thrown around. I would argue one of the most important things we can do as technologists is define them. I know that seems very prosaic and very boring, but it's stunning what happens when people don't agree on the meanings of words. This is why we came up with things like patterns, so that we could say one or two things that everybody had a common understanding of what that meant. So getting to this common vocabulary is very, very important. One of the big things that I had to struggle with in my last position was getting people to understand the differences between private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. Amazing to me how much confusion and angst there is around private, public, hybrid, especially the word public. I'm amazed at how many people think, oh, well, we can't use the public cloud because, well, then our data will be on the internet, and we don't want that. Or if we use Amazon Web Services, that means that our data shows up on Amazon.com. They don't seem to understand this distinction. It's important that we help them get through that and understand the implications for public versus private. Now, a lot of people will then ask the natural question, well, which of these models makes the most sense for me and my project and my situation? Now, there's three answers that work for every question you ever asked in computer science. 42. That's our key chart. Final low regression. And most final test is fair. It's better. So people tell me, should we public, should we private? I don't have the full answer to that. We need to have a conversation. A lot of this boils down to your needs. Can you feel isolation? If you have a private cloud situation, you are by definition isolated. This is not only on premises, this is in your data center. You're isolated from anybody else that you can see. But a lot of what this boils down to is, how does your organization feel about risk? I was at a company that built a data center within the last few years. I was really surprised that they made that choice. But their original risk was, we prefer to on-premise. That just made everybody sleep better at night. Can't really fight that. A lot of organizations, frankly, don't need the geographical dispersion that comes along with public cloud. Because remember when Amazon East went down, what was it, last year? Somebody, that figure, basically command and oops, half the internet went away for an afternoon. You can make an argument that says, why wasn't everybody backed up? Why did everybody have all sorts of other plans and geographical dispersion over here? For a lot of organizations, you can't really justify that expense. Because how often does that kind of a thing happen? Probably not often enough to really justify having this duplicated across multiple regions and the cost that goes along with that. A lot of our existing big enterprise organizations already have their own data centers. They have a legacy data center, in which case you might as well reuse that. There's not a whole lot of point in shoving that out the door quite yet. However, it's clear that it makes sense to put it in the public cloud. Once you get over the initial angst, then what you mean, my data is not going to be in my data center. The more story anything technology is, it has to make sense for you. It has to make sense for you. What inevitably happens, so what happens in organizations in a company, is somebody is going to throw around fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That's what you're going to try to do. The biggest challenge I faced in the last couple of years was getting people to avoid the mental for applications for our business. The other thing I spent a shocking amount of time defining was all about asset stuff. It's kind of like a new way of defining everything. Everything is as a service. That's what an IaaS, as something that has anything from AAS to something in our space. Whenever I have conference like this, I really wish that we would invent Azure as a service. And the early devices about
station is Rakuri. The doors on the right side will open. Please change it for the 509 local service. The stop after Rakuri will be Akabane.
We've all probably had this debate, the monolith versus microservices. Now, I'm actually not that big a fan of everything should be a microservice. This feels like a pretty large anti-pattern to me. There's a lot of organizations that seem hell-bent on turning everything into a microservice without actually asking themselves, do we need the benefits that we get from a microservice, or do we better delivering this as a modular monolith? Monolith has this negative connotation to it that it's obviously poorly designed and tightly coupled and whatnot. It doesn't have to be. You can write good code in any language. You can use good patterns in any architectural approach. So you can create a monolith that actually has some of the features of services without the tax and penalties that come along with microservices. I talked about this in the previous session. As we move towards this model, it does allow us to be far more polyglot than it did in the past. In the past, we basically have standardized and say, no, for economies of scale, everybody's going to deploy on .NET, everybody's going to deploy on Java, and this is going to be the apps that we use, and that's the way it's going to have to be for everybody because there's no way for us to justify having all these different environments. Well, now for just the build pack, and it makes sense for you to use this particular build pack, it makes sense for this project to use a different build pack, that's fine. We can get away with that. Now, that does open up another interesting question, which is how much leeway do you give people?